Hello, we just stood outside at our latest refurb, so I just want to do a quick video, hopefully show you what we managed to achieve with this. So let's come on in. First thing is brand new composite door. It's always good to have a brand new composite door when you're doing the BRRR strategy. So that's one thing I mentioned to my mentees a lot, that definitely don't underestimate the importance of first or good first impressions with the valuer. Anyway, before we get into the full video, the full nuts and bolts, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, okay? Make sure you subscribe. There's lots of videos that roll out on this channel each and every week, and hopefully it's there to provide you with a lot of value to help you in your journey. Right, so this property then, 2-bed terrace property, and if you haven't seen any of the previous videos that we've done throughout the refurb, it's a 2-bed terrace property and it's needed absolutely everything, okay? Brand new kitchen, brand new full gas central heating, brand new bathroom, the whole house needed plastering again, brand new door. The gas, which I'll refer to over here, there was no gas in this property. So when you're doing your calculations, especially like I said, from the BRRR perspective, looking around and seeing that there's a gas feed, there was a gas feed in the cellar, we're not going to go down there today on this video, you would assume that there was gas to the property. However, when we purchased the property, we found out that when they came out to do a live head check, there was no gas to the property. So the gas had been turned off for the previous 15 years. The old chap that lived here since 1968. And again, I'm strongly suggesting you have a look at the earlier video just for you to have a really good idea of what state this property was in. And again, what can be achieved with detailed refurbs and obviously the BRRR strategy. So having a look here, brand new gas meter there, and obviously they've just brought it out from the other side. Even though the gas was originally through the cellar, they've brought in the gas from the front, and the gas to bring it from that side there, they probably brought it about that far, was about £600. So just be aware of that when you're doing your budgets and when you're doing your calculations, when you're going on your viewings. Be aware of, does a property have gas? If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, whereabouts are you bringing it from? We were very lucky that we were only bringing it from a meter. If this had a massive garden of 5, 10, 15 meters, it's going to cost a lot of money. So yeah, this property then, brand new woodwork. So skirting boards, architraves, internal doors, door casing, everything throughout. So painted everywhere, as you can see. Like I said, the gas has been brought in, 5 new radiators as well. And then yesterday, the carpet fitters were here. So it's now completely done and dusted. And hopefully, we'll be getting this on the market within the next few days. So let's walk into the kitchen then. On this note though, again, when you're doing your refurbs, you want to be planning out the end user all the time. Our end user here this is just going to remain in our portfolio and we're going to rent it out. It's a very nice area. We're about 4 or 5 minutes walk from the train station, and it's very close really. We can get into Manchester within about half an hour, and probably Leeds similar time as well. So it's a really nice little area, this. But going back to the electrics, you want to make sure that you're planning it as in line with your end user. Where are they likely to put the television? Where are they likely to put other electrical things and so on? So this house, if I remember correctly, I'm sure there was like an old socket. The chap that lived here before, like I said, this was all complete DIY electrics. I'm sure there was an old socket here and wires going over there and lots throughout as well, maybe on this side as well. So it was in a bad state, which is why we managed to get it at a good price really, because people were walking into the property realizing it needed a lot of work and then just turning around and not bothering. Whereas for us, that's fantastic because you should always be able to see the value. Let's come into the kitchen then. So the kitchen, as you can see, is smaller than the room that we were just in then. This is classed as a back-to-back, although it's got a window here, which still needs cleaning, but don't worry, we'll get onto that. It's still classed as a back-to-back. So the kitchen, as you can see, is a little bit smaller than you would expect it to be. But again, this is 100% better than it was. Full kitchen, obviously, hob, oven, extractor fan, boiler, and we made a video about this the other day, so make sure you check that. It's always good, and we've always found it makes it look so much neater when you're boxing in a boiler. The brand new boiler though, and again, that cost quite a few pounds as well. We will do another video on the complete breakdown of everything in this property, how much it costs for the boiler and the 5 radiators, how much it costs to fit the bathroom, including the materials and so on, how much this costs. This is just a Howden's kitchen, but again, it's based on our end user. So there's no, if you listen, there's no soft close or anything like that. However, it's still 100% better than it was previously before as well. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 properties ago, we got a slightly thinner worktop just to see what it was like. I think it was about 28 mil or something like that, just 3, and it was too small. So be aware of trying to save every little pound where you can, because the finish on it wasn't as good as it was like to be. We've started to use this now in our rental properties. It's a 4-inch upstand, again from Howden's, just to save a little bit of, I suppose, maintenance as well, really, because as tenants change over and if needed, it should be a lot easier to just paint this than maybe replace all the tiles. It just depends on the grout and so on. It depends on the tenant that's living in here. So again, this is 100% ready for a new tenant. And in this area now, again, you've got to understand supply and demand here with your properties. There was 6 properties available in this area. And when I say this area, within like a quarter of a mile, 4 of them were 2-bed terraced, all gone. 1 of them was a 2-bed apartment that went yesterday, and it was online for about 48 hours. And there's 1 been available for about 5 or 6 months now. Now that one that's available for 5 or 6 months is like a 2-bed. Well, it's a 2-bed cottage. So again, when you're looking at like the bell curve, 2-bed terrace, which is what we like those in our portfolio, they tend to fly off the shelf all the time, really. Whereas a 2-bed cottage is a little bit more niche and so on. Another little thing here, again, please have a look at the previous videos, especially the day we got the keys. There was no woodwork here. It was like a plastic sheeting type of thing that went all the way up. So obviously that needed to be ripped out and then putting the handrails on and spindles. It would, like I said, I know I keep saying it, have a look how far this property's come from when we first picked up the keys and see what state the property was in. We're just going to head on upstairs now, and I think that's it in here. So as we head on upstairs, again, really nice little touch. Rather than have it all completely white, we've always found, I think probably the last 3 or 4 properties we've done this as well, just to bring in this varnish cut effect there on the handrails. It just tends to help it pop a little bit more. If you're looking to achieve or even push the rental ceiling, it's small things like this that are going to help. We're hoping that a small family is going to come in here, or a young couple, realise that it's absolutely turnkey, it's got everything brand new, and then they'll just have it straight away. Again, depends on the reference checks. Now, if you can see here, we had to probably knock this back 6-8 inches, because when you stood on this step, the person here had to duck down. So I'm about 6 foot, so again, not super tall, but we needed to take room off the back bedroom, which is here, in order to make this a lot more of an open space, really. So I'll show you what we've done there. So again, everything so far is looking very well. Carpets are our standard colour, really. Nice dark grey, white walls. People can sometimes say, if we just head on up here, why is everything white? It's so that when the tenants move out, we can easily replace it. Because during our earlier days, we just used to go with whatever modern colour was available. But then you'll find that after you've had a property 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you can't get hold of that colour again. So you might as well, in our experience, just stick with it all being white. Now, this room here that we're going to go into was all one room previously. So the double bed was in here, wardrobes, everything was all over the place. The toilet was still in the corner, the shower was in the other corner, and there was no separating wall or anything like that. So yeah, I did say that. The double bed was here, clutter, wardrobes, everything. The toilet was still in the same space over there, and the shower was in the other corner. So let's head on in. So from here now, this is the actual, I suppose the bigger of the bedrooms really, but they're both still good size. Absolutely, again, if we're having a look around, brand new, okay? Skimmed throughout this property, went back to bricking in quite a few places as well. New skirting board, that's 5-inch skirting board. Did not have gas central heating previously, so that really helped us as well, because the EPC, I think, was A, B, C, D, E. I think it was about F, and now it's been brought up to a C, which is magnificent. Additional double sockets throughout, because again, we want to make sure that when they come in, that again, we're catering to the end user and that the room is functional. Now, with this in mind, this chimney breast here is probably about 12, 15 inches, maybe something like that. When the properties are staying in our portfolio, we never knock out the chimney breast. We always want to keep hold of it, simply because you want to make sure that you're spending necessary money on your refurbs, whereas this wouldn't have been a necessary expense. Going on for that, before I forget, we decided to drop the chimney on this property as well, because when the roof went up, it was obviously dilapidated. We could have spent like £400-500, or we could have just decided to get rid of it, and then hopefully, well, there's no chimney there, so we won't be having any problems with that ever again. So that's why we decided to keep this chimney breast in here. But a little tip, if you're looking to do your flips, especially if you're doing flips to maybe release a big chunk of money to help you start building your portfolio, factor in removing the chimney breast and see what it's like, because this room then, that would have been a lovely straight line down there, just makes it a little bit more functional. However, this is still a really, really good room. This is where the shower was before. So yeah, the shower was in this corner. I remember there was a single socket here, and the wire went round the back, and obviously very, very close to the water, and the toilet was in the other side there. So this is a stud wall we put in. It's the rock wall inside there and so on. So the stud wall, and we also as well, you can't obviously see it, the ceiling had bellied probably about 5 or 6 inches. So this is actually a false ceiling. So the ceiling above this, rather than rip it all down, we decided to just go, I think it's 6 inches lower, because we had enough room in this property. So again, always be visually aware when you're doing your refurb, when you're doing the viewings, how much the electric is going to cost, how much is a gas central heating going to cost, how much it's going to be to replace the internal doors, how much it's going to be to replace woodwork and so on like that. What's the roof like? What's the plumbing like? What's the drainage like and so on like that? You know, what's the gutters like? Do you have a hopper on your gutter? Are you sharing the downspout of 5 or 6 other properties? So there's always so many things that you can learn from just doing a viewing. So let's now head on into the bathroom. Now, before we go in here, like I said, this was all one room before. This bathroom really we could have brought it here, so the door opened there. But if we would have done that, we would have made this bathroom even longer. And to be honest, how much of your day really do you spend in the bathroom? All right, unless you're a particular type of gentleman that likes to spend hours on the toilet. But from here, we decided to maybe set that back a little bit, and at least now there's some functional space there. They may decide to put in a nice big storage unit. Who knows, okay? But the main reason is, or the main thing is, we didn't want to make the bathroom any longer, really. So let's head on into the bathroom. A little tip here as well. We always need to make sure, I'll show you now. There we go. We always need to make sure, yes, it costs a lot, but that we're getting an extractor fan in here, because some tenants, I'm not saying all of them, some tenants, they might complain about, you know, damp, condensation and so on. A lot of it is down to not letting the property breathe. So that now, when we turn it off, should stay on, I think, for another 15 minutes. Prevention versus cure all the time, really. So this bathroom, I forgot this as well, there was no window in this property at all. So from here, we had the other window that we've just been in the bedroom. The toilet was still here before, obviously an older toilet, and the sink was there, but we decided to create another source of light, really, make it feel more like a bathroom rather than just like a type of, I suppose, closed off bathroom, really. Here as well, we haven't gone for the tiles. We've started to do this in the last few properties, really. These aqua panels, these wet wall panels and so on. So far, touch wood, they seem to be going okay. Let's have a look. Now, we're going to head on into the back bedroom now. And this one, really, again, this one, the only thing that we changed on here was, if you remember what I said about coming up the stairs, this wall used to go down there. So, as we decided to take height off take room off this bedroom to give people more height on the stairs, it's probably come out about 8 or 10 inches. We had the option then to either level it there or do it at an angle. It's always better to level it off, because at least that provides some sort of shelving space or something. At least you might be able to put something on it. Whereas if that was at an angle, it's dead space really. So just always, again, think about your end user. Additional sockets in this bedroom as well. I think there's 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. In theory, this could still be classed as a double bedroom. I've definitely been in smaller bedrooms. Some of the bedrooms, what you go into, properties, you can go like that in. You know, like where they've tried to cut the big front bedroom in a terrace property into 2, and this bedroom ends up like that. So it's definitely more than 6.5 foot wide, this. And I think that's pretty much it, really. But this property at the back here sold for over 130, like for like layout as this. There's a property on the other side sold for 135. We purchased this for 75. So again, you do your maths there. So we purchased it for 75, 3,750 stamp duty plus the refurb. And I'm going to do a full breakdown, pound by pound, on how much this entire refurb has cost us. And again, how much money we're going to have left in the deal. But it depends on the value when they're here in 1 week's time. If you've liked this video though, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe as well. And I suggest, again, if you're serious, look at some of the other videos on this channel. And again, if you want to really level up your game, maybe have a look into the Black Belt Property Academy. Check out my website, dervishdervish.com, and have a look on there. See how we help mentees and so on. We take white belt beginners all the way to black belt and beyond, really, in the world of property investing. Like I said, thank you very much for watching this. Good luck. Keep getting up, keep showing up, and keep investing in your mindset. Thank you very much. Take care.